Oh,
Yeah.
What class is the other group for?
It's human resources, I think.
Huh. Okay. Okay. Well, I think this doesn't say to start out with a prayer, but all the other ones usually do. So let's go ahead and keep a tradition.
All right.
Maybe we'll need it so we can all finish the spreadsheet. Maybe.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Who wants to offer a prayer?
I can do it.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. Our Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this evening to be able to meet together as a group. We pray that will help us to learn from each other and to be able to put our minds together to better understand the questions and the discussion that we have tonight, and to become better students and learn more. And this we ask and pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. So let's see here. As part of discussion, it says we need to assess this venture from Jim Sharpe's perspective. So who thought that him purchasing the company was a good idea?
I think for what he was looking for, if I understood the case correctly, he was kind of gonna jump into this type of situation no matter what business he bought, because he had limited funds. He wanted full ownership. He had all these stipulations, and so I think I personally would have been surprised if he had bought something and it would have been different from what he just walked into.
Because he was kind of looking for something that was in need, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because he needed something that was kind of almost falling apart, because at that point he could actually purchase it for like flat out full ownership. He wouldn't have to have it financed through any big capitalists. So basically, I mean, if I understand the case correctly also, because it was kind of, I mean, it was a story timeline, basically. So so he goes through and he's done all sorts of different things. He's been paid, so he's not just as a full business owner, but like as an employee, manager. He's gone through and he's developed companies, taken them from being really risky and not doing very well and taken them to be profitable. And he's learned a ton of lessons along the way. And that's what he went through. It was basically all of his many, many different lessons. And at the very end, it all leads up to that he just really wants to own his own company. Like he wants to just buy out a company straight, and he wants to build it up. He doesn't want to be, like the CEOs. He doesn't want to be hired by a CEO to be the manager. He wants to be the CEO and manage it and be in charge of it all. So,
right.
But as far as I could tell, the company that he decided to choose, I don't think it was like a huge company.
No, I don't think they were too awfully big.
Like it seems like it was more of a probably actually manageable for only like one person instead of having to have, multiple management levels. So, and he had been in this kind of situation before, like with a similar company. Let's see here. Press Alloys, that's what it was. So, okay. So, so from his perspective, he thinks he's probably getting something good, I would think. I mean, if he didn't think he was getting something good, he probably wouldn't have gone through with it. So, did anybody else feel scared for him as you're reading the case?
Yeah, I did. It's like really overwhelming. So like, I remember at the end of the case, they were saying like everyone just like the owner left and everyone was looking at him and they're like, all right, well now what? Like that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Yeah, and I thought it was like kind of sketchy that the old owner wouldn't let him talk to anybody. He couldn't, have any contact with anybody within the company. Like, I'd say that's a red flag. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird. And I couldn't understand, was there a union already or was there a union trying to form?
There was a union.
So there was an existing union and the
Yes.
owner was trying to tell him to kick him off, right? The property?
Or he wants them to try and dismantle. Like sometimes whenever a new company comes in, like if they don't want the union to be there, like if a huge company with tons of money comes in and just buys everything straight out, they could actually fire everybody and then hire everybody new. So they could say, if you decide to join the union, you're off the team. Just go find another job. Like you're just dismissed. They could do that, but depending on the situation of all the employees, you don't want to have no employees for a team. If you have products supposed to be delivered here within like weeks or days or something. So it kind of depends on the pull of the union also. Like if the entire factory is union, then he may not want to do that. Maybe he might want to work with the union. But if only like a fourth of them are union, he might give them the option of saying, well, we're not going to follow the rules of the union. We're going to do things differently. And he could say, if you want to stay with the union, then you need to go find another company to work for. And then they can decide if they want to do it or not. But then you have like this battle of egos. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the right word uses, but the battle of, you really need me. No, I don't need you. Whatever.
Like a strike kind of thing.
Yeah, because that was the other thing is that they would strike every once in a while whenever the prices weren't right, or something like that. But I also thought it was really red flag, like tons of red flag when he was like, "Don't talk to my customers," and trying to tell them how to like not try and work with the employees and don't talk to them. I'm like, what do they know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how has Jim Sharpe purchased his venture, and what are the implications of his financial structure? So, any thoughts before I jump in?
What was the question, Christina? Sorry.
So how did he purchase the company, and what implications of that are there?
Oh, that part was kind of murky to me. I didn't have a full understanding. I know he paid some of his own cash, but
Yeah, he had like 150,000 at one point, didn't he?
yeah, he financed it in some way that's called like a flip, or I didn't understand all the terms.
Well, I know that he wanted. Let's see here. Let me go back to it. So it was a leveraged buyout was the period that they were in, and so that's why the guy was that was leaving was really concerned, and he did a whole bunch of legal things to make sure that if Jim Sharpe didn't follow through with his side of the bargain, if he didn't pay all of his debts within like a certain amount of time, then he could actually come in and take over. So that was a big portion of like the very last portion was all the legal jargon, so that the owner that's leaving, who seems kind of selfish to me, I don't know, and super shady, like nepotism running rampant, like he hired his own family members on and other stuff.
Yeah. I found in on page 16 in the executive summary, it talks about a proposal to secure financing in the form of a term loan secured by machinery and equipment, and then a line of credit. I don't know if that helped him when he went to close the deal. Or what that exactly is for.
When I see it, I'm just wondering, I'm like, Jim Sharpe didn't come in with any machinery. So I'm wondering if that was their actual like deal, is that kind of sold him. Maybe the owner leaving kind of sold him some of the machinery, like
maybe through bank financing. Looks like.
Like he considered the machines and the equipment there to be part of his assets, and so he sold that instead of having him just pay him cash directly. He kind of maybe like reduced it because of the assets that were there. I don't know. I had noted it. I don't remember where it was. I just saw like on page 9, the $2 million I was paying consisted of 1,240,000 that he was taking back in paper was a flip. So he was kind of, I don't know. I didn't think he was flipping the business. Now I'm all confused again. Okay, let me look.
Yeah, that part was confusing because it wasn't like he was flipping it like you'd flip a house, but they called it a flip. You know, I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like he takes over the business, but then if he can't pay people back, then he just declares bankruptcy.
Hello.
And the old owner gets no money. I think. Pretty much it'd be really risky for the old owner, this flip.
Well, he wanted old owner wanted $2 million. I know that. But he got it different ways and over different periods of time. And I can't find those details. So, but I know that was $2 million. That's what he ended up paying for it. How he got it financed is probably in the details that Katie's talking about. So, but it talks about that it was $2 million at the top of page 9. So I know that.
Cool.
So it would also be tricky. So Jim Sharpe's coming into this, and I wonder if he feels overwhelmed also, like staring at all these people, and like now that he's actually there and he's like taking, because I wonder if he actually got a chance to do any due diligence. Like if you can't talk to certain customers and you can't talk to the employees, and did he get a look at all their records to really see how they've been doing, to really gauge how much they were worth?
Yeah, it said he could tour the plant right as many times as he want, but just couldn't talk to anybody. So pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, like, if he can't, if there's ever a time that he ever goes, oh my goodness, like we're not going to be able to, pay back our money at this time, just because the company wasn't doing well at the beginning and the company isn't doing good, but that was the company he was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a reason they're not doing good? And if he can't actually turn it around, he's going to lose everything.
He must have seen something in the company to feel like he could turn things around.
He must have. I don't know if any of us feel the same.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I think since he did have 10 years of experience, pretty much doing like building back companies back up, I think he's just as like, how he compared it to. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just how he compared it to like flipping houses. Everyone can hear me. Cool. Yeah. He compared it to flipping houses. I'm sure. Just like someone who knows construction very well, he knows when it's a good deal, and he knows the certain signs of a profitable, business venture, I guess. And so, in his eyes, he obviously did see something that I'm sure he was confident that he could bring the company back from how they were doing bad, and obviously they're losing profit. Otherwise, they wouldn't sell their company. So I think he definitely had some confidence there in his abilities to make the company grow again, I guess. That's all I really want to say.
Well, that is a good point. Anybody else? So what do we think Jim Sharpe should do on his first day of ownership?
I think in the pre-discussion quiz, I think I put the pricing, figure out pricing or something like that. But really, I'm not sure, to be honest. Some of the other things just didn't seem as important, like gaining the interest of the employees. Well, that's important. I'm not saying that's not important, but I feel like that'll come more over time as he's working on other problems. I don't know, what did you guys put?
I put getting to know the employees and like building their trust with them. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was like an important thing because they have a new owner coming in and they're like, "Who's this guy?" You know. So
Sure.
it's important to, I don't know, have that trust with your employer and with your employees and vice versa. So
also adding on that, he did know that a lot of the employees had a bad reputation for like their quality, I guess, and stuff.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And so I think that would be pretty important for him to work on that. The quality, it says like, yeah, they had a poor reputation for quality, delivery, and general business practices. So I guess overall they just had a bad reputation. So maybe just work with them and become, befriend them and figure out who needs to stay and who needs to go, I guess.
Matt, did you have any suggestions?
No, I think I put get to know the employees too, just because I didn't know if it was like a clue, but I just thought it was weird how in the case how the previous owner didn't let him talk to him. So I thought maybe that would be a good piece for him to work on.
Well, I also put gain the trust of the employees, but the reason I put that is because I figured if they have a union usually means that they don't trust upper management and they don't really feel that upper management is there to have their best interest. And so my thought was usually if you have a union, it makes your overhead costs higher than what they really need to be. And so you end up having really high over costs, which affects your profits in the very end. And so I thought if he could gain the trust of the employees, then that might be one way that he can get rid of the union so that he'd actually then start looking at his prices and start making a better profit to turn everything around. So that's why I chose that one. So what should his action plan be for the next 6 months?
I put that he should reduce costs. It talked about some of the businesses that he turned around in the past. That was a thing that he was comfortable with, was reducing costs and then focusing on improving productivity. So usually you can control costs easier than you can control productivity, as far as without knowing what the sales are like or that sort of a thing.
I also,
Go ahead,
I put something, sorry, I put something similar. I think that it says that they were, it says my financial data suggested that the amount of raw material being purchased was far greater than what was needed for maintaining production. So I just think, like, kind of going off what he was saying, be more efficient, and just realize how much you actually need, because if you have extra inventory or material, I guess, it definitely puts, you have to store it, you have to, I don't know what exactly it is, but a lot of times it doesn't work out good if you have extra inventory that you don't need. So with being efficient, I guess.
Any suggestions, Becca or Katie?
was thinking that it would be probably important to, they talked about the extruder, I think was its name.
I wasn't sure what that
Anyways,
one was. I figured it was a
it's
machine.
like on the edge or something of breaking. I think he should probably look into all the machinery and make sure it's working okay, and because, you know, production and stuff is going to slow down if he doesn't have machines working right, and if nobody knows how to fix them. I think that's probably a problem that needs to be solved at some point.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Like business without without the machines. So.
Well, this reminds me of, I think a class I took last semester. Yeah, last semester was it was kind of talking about like supply chain management was really what the class was overall about. They gave it some fancy name, but it was basically supply chain management. And in that class, we talked a lot about efficiency ratios and creating floor plans so you don't have to walk so many times in the exact same spot, so that you can like shorten your amount of time of making products. And they constantly related this over to Toyota and how Toyota tries to make high quality products and how it tries to be really, really efficient. And they have something on the line where if there's any problem at all in any part of what they're doing, they will actually stop the line until that problem is fixed, and then they will move on. So they don't just try and, you know, take that, you know, say that they don't have a door handle for this particular color. They don't take that car and just, you know, push it off to the side and just try and keep going. They try and figure out, okay, what can we do at this time? What do we need to do to get it done? Where is it? And they have a plan in place before they ever get the line moving again. And so their goal is to never have the line stop, but they also have this whole development of their employees of trying to encourage their employees to be critical thinkers, solve the problem on their own. And if they can't solve the problem on their own, then they go and talk to management. And if they can't solve the problem, then they go and talk to another management. And it will keep going until there's actually a plan in place before they ever keep moving the line along. And so that's how they try and maintain high quality, so that every part that actually leaves at the very end is done and to the best quality possible. And that's also how they regulate any issues also, because if there's a problem on this spot, it could be another problem, you know, relating to the next spot. So, and so I kind of thought of that also, of he's coming into this mess. It's like walking into my kids' rooms. Like, where do you start? And so he's got to go in and figure out, okay, what kind of employees do I have? Where are they lacking in anything? Why are they not producing high quality? Do they even know how to produce quality? Do they even know what quality is supposed to look like? I mean, do they really just hate their job, and so they're just, you know, giving their minimum effort? Like, what's going on there? But then he's also got to look at all the equipment, and is the equipment the issue of why there's not good quality happening? Because the question is, you know, what is he going to do in 6 months? What is he going to do in 12 months? And what should his priorities be? Well, I think he's got lots of priorities. But which one does he do first? I don't know. He's got lots of stuff to do. But what was that?
Sorry. I said it might just end up being like, you know, whichever problem's screaming the loudest, like, I have to work on that first, and then the next problem that's screaming the loudest. I don't know. Depends on how big the mess is, I guess.
I agree with that. I think just there's like Matt said, there's a lot of hints that the previous owner was doing a very poor job of just pretty much getting his employees to be satisfied with their job, and it just seemed like there was not a good relationship there. It even said in the study that when the previous owner left, all he said was that he sold the company to me, told the employees that I had changed the company's name, and then wished them well and walked out of the room, you know? And so apparently there wasn't a good relationship at all. So I feel like that was a big problem. So I've worked in like factories and warehouses, and I mean, a lot of times the ownership or the management really doesn't treat people like people, and so I think that that's the biggest problem. Really, if they have a union, that's definitely the biggest problem, in my opinion. Just to get the relationship built back up to where it should be, you know. So, and that's about all I got.
So what should his action plan be for the next 6 months? I know we already did that one. 6 months, 12 months.
I was going to say, didn't we just talk about that?
I did the same thing. I was like, why is it asking it twice? Okay, so did Jim make the right acquisition, or do we think he should have chosen the other one that he let slip through?
I think he did. I think he made a good choice because, well, at least if he is good with building up those employee relationships, if he's not, maybe not then. But it seems like he is pretty good at that. I think that's the biggest problem for them. So.
And I think that if it checked off each box, you know, that he wanted in a company, and it's what he was looking for, you know, no matter what problems it has, if that's what he was looking for, then yeah, he made the right decision for what he wanted. Yeah.
Also, just gonna throw in one more little comment. It wouldn't be a case study probably if it's like a negative one. So I'm guessing he had success. Just saying.
I don't know. It could be a case where we're trying to learn, like, maybe do more in-depth study on companies you choose to buy, or
Well, kind of like a what not to do.
yeah.
I guess there's always a chance, but I don't know. I just feel that it's most of the times it's going to be a good, positive thing that we're learning. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, he did have a good resume behind him of all the different things that he'd learned and all the different places he'd been. There probably is a really good chance that the company turned around. I've even thought to look up Extrusion Technology, Inc. Let's see here.
Well, yeah, it talks about it in the case where it says business overview. It's kind of confusing what it actually is. It says produces custom components for a variety of industries which are fabricated from aluminum extrusions. So, like, they yields highly rigid part in a broad range of profile shapes. So, like with aluminum, I don't know if it's highly rigid and it's made out of aluminum. Maybe it's for, I don't know, planes or something. I don't know. I don't know really what it's for. I guess it says railings. But I don't know if anybody saw that.
I looked it up online, and it says Extrusion in October of 2011. Extrusion Technology announces the renaming of the company to CBT Technology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it says building, construction, transportation, electrical machinery. Okay, so it's definitely not planes. My bad. I was just throwing that out there randomly. Yeah.
They make panels, and they have facilities in Massachusetts, California, along with Shenzhen and Xiamen and China. So if this was one little company, it's grown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now a global company with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations, unless Shijimin and Xiamen are in China. I'm totally butchering them. I have absolutely no idea what those words are.
It may have been acquired too by those Chinese companies.
Maybe.
To me, it seemed kind of like the moral of the story was, because I think this week we're learning about like acquisitions, right, and buying businesses. It kind of seemed like the lesson was like you have to know what you're getting yourself into, and I think the big like question mark was what the relationship was with the employees and the union and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how it plays out, but it seemed like he kind of walked in blind on that part, and so I don't know. Depending on either way it pans out, but.
Also, probably figuring out how much is the company worth to make sure that you don't want to just pay more for a company than it really is worth.
Yeah, because it seemed like the owner just threw out $2 million because it sounded good, right? But whether that was the value or not.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of wanted it as like a gold star to go home and say, "I got $2 million for my company."
Yeah.
Yeah, like $100 would be a gold star for me. So
Yeah.
Well, it also makes you wonder, like, for 2 million. I mean, we've read other cases where they're 50 million and other stuff like that. Like, especially venture capitalists, they'll go and they'll dump 50 million into a company, but this one was 2 million. So it also makes you wonder, did the previous owner really value his company more than $2 million? Covering all the materials and everything and all the possibilities of making more money, that he feels that at this moment in time they're only worth $2 million. That kind of seems little for a huge factory.
I think he might have valued it more than that, because he definitely didn't see it going in a positive way, but he definitely had a lot of restrictions on how the new owner can how Jim could deal with the company. He can't give himself salary, he can't do certain things. Like he can give himself salary, it's not a certain amount, right? And so I feel like he had a lot of restrictions, and if it wasn't actually worth what it was, I don't know. That's just kind of what I think. But I think he probably saw that it was worth more potentially, but he probably also had a very negative outlook on its future, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think he was hoping that eventually the company wouldn't do good and he would just get it back?
Yeah, definitely. Because he had so many restrictions, and he was really, really weird about it. So.
I remember all those restrictions. I think more than anything, the restrictions on how he was going to run the company and who he could hire and other stuff like that. I think that would be my biggest red flag. Like, what are you doing? I'm buying your company. It's my turn. Go away.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I just got my apartment like about a month ago, and the guy had a crazy amount of little weird, quirky things that you can't do this, you can't do this, you have to shovel the snow every day, and if you don't, blah blah blah. Like I don't know, some people are just weird. So I mean, that's why I think it takes a little bit of just actual knowledge of whether it's because obviously to buy a company you can't. It's not going to be very intelligent to buy. You're not going to buy a brand new house and try to flip it. You know what I'm saying? There's not much profit in that for you. It's they're going to sell it for as much as it's worth, and in the end, it's not really much of a business prospect, I guess you could say. So it takes a lot of just understanding. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but yeah.
Good point, Jesse. Well, those are all the questions. Anybody else have any other comments?
I don't have anything.
Going once? Going twice? So, okay. Well, I think that's everything. Oh, I guess we need to do a summary, right? Okay. So, to summarize, we think Jim Sharpe knew what he was doing when he got into this. However, we're a little bit nervous for him. And let's see here. He's got a lot of restrictions on him, but he felt that it was worth it. We also feel like he needs to take care of developing relationships and trust with his employees, and also looking at the equipment, making sure that all the equipment's up to date, or whatever problem is screaming the highest is where his priority should be. Let's see here. But we'd also think he should try and figure out why there's a union, and if that's a relationship with the employees, then that needs to be addressed. But he probably did make a good choice on his acquisition, because the company was at a low, and because of all of his experience, that he can actually bring it up to, I don't know, something to be profitable. Does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anything?
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
Okay, well, we'll stop the broadcast. So.